So rather than me introducing the two of you, I thought we'd have them talk, and you will get a better idea of John Harbaugh and Admiral Tom Lynch, Coach John Harbaugh and Admiral Tom Lynch. I can guarantee you it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get started. The theme of our leadership session is about how do leaders create fearless teams through enterprising people. Let's think about the theme of approaching one's lives and one's duty with what Admiral Lynch has said is the attitude that's best encapsulated in the saying, ship, shipmate, self. Admiral Lynch, how did you come to believe in this approach?
Well, thank you, Rajshree, and it's a real pleasure for me to be here for all the Terps, and we're looking forward to this. But I would say probably started at the Naval Academy back in the early 60s when we were taught early on as a first year there as a plebe that non sibi sed patriae, not self, but country. So we always felt that we were providing service to something greater than ourselves. And then when I had my first command at sea, I realized at that point in time that I am accountable and responsible for everything that happens aboard that ship outside the lifelines and with all my 300 shipmates. And so we worked very hard to come up with the philosophy of ship, shipmate, self. You think about the ship, you think about your shipmates, and then you worry about yourself. Coach Harbaugh has to do that with the Ravens. You do that as a parent. Any coach or parent, any type of organization, you're thinking all the time, what effect is this thought, word, or deed going to have on my unit? What effect is it going to have on my teammates, my colleagues, my children, whatever it may be? And then what's in it for me? A very selfless way to live is a very quality way to live, but it's very difficult as well because we're not, our DNA doesn't, we're always in it, what's in it for me? We've been brought up that way, and that's the way we live. So it's very difficult to get across. But when you do that, then you develop that trust and that camaraderie and that faith that your team has for the leader himself.
So, Coach Harbaugh, the media talks about your intense work ethic. What does that mean? How do you help players think through this continuum of self to teammate to team?
Thanks. Good question. Dr. Lowe, I got some good stuff from you. If you don't mind, I might be borrowing that. Would that be all right with the team? It's fantastic. And Rob and DJ, you could probably answer the intensity part of it with recruiting and coaching. Admiral Lynch and I have had a good time this afternoon kind of laughing and talking about all these great principles. But intensity, hard work, taking care of one another, believing in one another, putting others before yourself, it all kind of goes together. And as you build your projects that you guys won these awards on, or you build a team here on campus, or the different things that you guys are all being involved in. And I'm pretty impressed with the fact that you're here right now. I mean, to me, that's a statement of intensity. You made a choice to come out here, as you said, at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday when that sun's shining, and I can see the sun coming through there right now. And there are plenty of students who are not in here right now. They're outside doing whatever they're doing. Some of it they're probably not bragging about. But you're in here trying to find a way to get better. You're working hard. You're trying to improve yourself. To me, that's where intensity begins. And if you want to lead, you want to step up and get out in front, as Rob was talking about, lead a team, do something that makes people better, raise people up, organize a charitable operation, whatever it might be, there's a certain intensity and a certain hard work that goes with that. And if you're willing to do it, if you're willing to get out front, if you're willing to do all the things that you expect your team to do, then they're going to be willing to do it too. If you're not, they're certainly not going to be willing to do it. So intensity starts with the leader. If you want an intense group, you got to be an intense leader.
And I can tell you're pretty intense.
I'm kind of mad. I'm mad. We went 5-11 last year. We got to be intense.
How would you like to be in that locker room?
So, Admiral Lynch, would you like to add about the intensity of the work ethic, and how does that intense work ethic self then develop?
Well, I think that, in fact, I learned from Coach Harbaugh, you give 100% to your work and you give 100% to your family. So you're always pushing, you're always working. And if any of us have ever been around anybody who is not committed to excellence, that's a very difficult experience. So to be excellent, you have to push yourself, you have to push your team. They don't need to really be pushed. They want that challenge. All of us as individuals, we want to be challenged. You came here to the University of Maryland to be challenged academically. And when you come to New Day USA, we're going to challenge you because we want you to grow as a mortgage professional, because you're there helping the veteran with a financial solution for their home. So it's always trying to improve yourself, trying to get better, and trying to make the team better.
Thank you. So one of the themes, of course, so you might be wondering, why is it that an admiral that commanded a troop in Desert Storm, and Coach Harbaugh, who runs the, can I say runs the Ravens?
It's a team. We work together.
Why are we having them talk about business with you? So what are the lessons that one could learn from sports and service as it relates to business and the careers that you're going to choose? So I want to get back to this theme about potential trade-offs between purpose and profits. Ed, when he started the Philadelphia Flyers hockey team and over many years built a very successful franchise, noted that some of these early franchises failed. And in fact, some stories say that Ed taught Philly how to love hockey. Coach Harbaugh, how do you grapple between these potential trade-offs, between finding the right people who share the team's ethic and purpose and the idea of profitability and winning?
That's a great question, because we've got the draft in 8 days. So we're grappling with those questions right now. And I think the thing that we found, like Admiral Lynch talked about, you got to be 100% committed in every direction. So if you're 100% committed to your job, you're 100% committed to your family, that's 200%. That's enough for anybody. But you're all in. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are all in. So it's not contrary to say that somebody's going to be supremely talented, supremely motivated, and have a supreme high character, that they're not capable of caring about one another, loving one another, and being a part of a great team. To me, most highly successful people are very capable of being great teammates. We're looking for both of those. There's always a sliding scale, right, in sports. So you're going to look at that player. I mean, if a person's a high character person, but they can't make a jump shot, they're probably not going to be on the basketball team. But we think we can find in this draft, 250 some guys are going to get drafted. We're going to draft 9 of them. I would like to think that we could find 9 football players that are great football players and great people at the same time. To me, that's how we're going to build a championship team. Because when things get rough and things get rocky and you're fighting your way through a loss, a tough loss, and another tough loss, and you get knocked down, we need people that are going to pick each other back up and stand back up and have each other's back and not crack. There's no fissures. There's no cracks. There's no chinks in our armor. We stick together, shoulder to shoulder, side by side, and we come out the other end. There's no such thing as failure. Failure is a made-up thing in life. It's not possible for you to fail unless you decide to fail. Failing is just stopping, all right? Learning, getting better, improving yourself, learning from your mistakes. You know, Admiral Lynch, you were a boxer, got punched in the nose a couple times, as we can all see. You keep coming, right?
You got it.
And to me, that's the kind of people we're looking for. So if we can't find 9 of those guys in this draft, then we're not doing our job.
And at New Day, I just might add that we have 500 young people. The average age is 26, unless I'm not there. And just fantastic, young, energetic. But I hearken back to Warren Buffett once said, when he looks to hire people, he's looking for integrity, intelligence, and energy. And if the first one's not there, the other 2 will kill you. So we're looking for people with integrity, people who have worked through college or been in a sport and know that the meaning of resilience and what it takes. And so we're really always doing that, and just it's just a joy for me to see that day in and day out. And
So I want to follow up just a little bit on this, and I really appreciated, Coach Harbaugh, where you said that it's a sliding scale. If you had to choose, though, virtues or talent, which one would you go with?
You can never, virtue. You can't sell character short. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we've got a saying in coaching, Coach Durkin, you know it well. You know, we talk about players sometimes, and we refer to them disparagingly at times as coach killers, right? The coach killer, the guy that's going to get you beat. He's going to make a bad decision. He's not going to work as hard. He's not going to study. He's not going to be there when it gets tough, you know. So, no, character is where it all begins. Without character, there's nothing else. You know, that to me that's a must. And people are going to make mistakes. People are going to fall down. But you treat everybody like family, like Mr. Snider said. You treat everybody like family. And if you got a son or a daughter that makes a mistake, you're not going to abandon them. You're going to discipline them. And sometimes you got to make hard decisions and tough love and those kind of things, but you're going to stand by them. So if you make a choice to bring somebody into your organization, it means you believe in them. It means you're going to stand behind them. Even if they're not a part of your organization going forward for some reason, they're still a part of your life. And that should never change. You should walk together forever, you know, once you become a family. And to me, that's what a business, that's what a team, that's what a sorority, a fraternity, that's what you are.
Admiral Lynch, would you like to add about how this works within New Day USA? Again, as it relates to helping people grow on both the virtues as well as the talents dimension.
We're very fortunate at New Day USA because we have a noble purpose. What we do is we provide financial solutions for military veterans who have worn the uniform, that young man right there, who has worn the uniform, stepped up, made the sacrifices for all the values and freedoms that we cherish in this country, and now they need a hand up. They need a little help, and they come to us, and we're able to provide that need at this point in time to help them get that loan, to get their finances back squared away. They take the cash out with money that they need, and to solve a lot of problems that happen in everyday's life. So we have that noble purpose, and then that is gives us the drive to not only do our job to the best of our ability, but we help one another. Any discretionary time, our employees help one another. They look for an opportunity. Can't wait for you to tell me, ask me, what do I do? And I can't wait to tell you about New Day. I do citizenship things. I look for other things that I can do to help the country. So we have that noble purpose here that makes us very unique in industry today in many respects. Very young, growing, developing, and we feel very proud about that.
So one other question, and this is for you, Coach Harbaugh. You know, we've talked about teams, and of course, teams are only as strong as the individuals within them. And of course, when you're building an all-star team, one often has to worry about this tension between individual stardom versus team commitment and entrepreneurship and perseverance. Earlier, Coach Harbaugh, you were sharing with us a story about Ray Lewis in particular. Would you share with all of us about when you came in? What was the culture? How did it change? And what about star Ray Lewis as opposed to team Ravens?
Right. Well, and some of the Ravens fans out there have probably heard this story before, and it's probably twofold. It has to do with the locker room and the introductions. But, you know, you come into a situation, and it's a new team, and a team is established in so many ways. In pro sports, I mean, it's star-driven, right? I mean, from the outside, you're watching ESPN, and you see the bright lights, and you hear about the names and all that kind of stuff. And that's really what people's perception of it is so many times. I think it's the same way in business. I mean, it's the same way in education. You know, the university president is a superstar. He's at the top of his profession. The CEO, a guy starts a company mortgaging his own house because he wants to make a difference in people's lives and because he wants to become a big success. So he mortgages his own house, starts a company, and now has one of the top growing companies in the United States of America, okay? These are superstar type of qualities, just in sports, Ray Lewis, Stephon Curry, whoever it might be. But underneath that, behind all that, is the character, is the belief in team and the belief in family. So I walk into the locker room the first time, and I see no one's in there, and I see the locker room, and I notice that, you know, everybody's got pretty much a locker, except for there's a couple guys have 2 lockers. Well, you can imagine who those guys are, right? I mean, Ray's got 2 lockers, and Ed Reed has 2 lockers, and Terrell Suggs wanted 2 lockers, but he didn't have 2 lockers yet. He has actually taken over the guy's locker next to him. He put all his movies in the next locker over there. So I didn't think that was very team-like, but But I talked to Ray and talked to Ed and just said, you know, what's the deal? And they're kind of like, that's just how we've always done it here. It's just kind of how it works. You kind of graduate to have 2 lockers. And I'm like, well, what do you think about the other guys that, you know, yeah, we have stars, but we also are teammates first, you know? And when you're the biggest stars are the guys that raise each other up and shine the light for everybody else. And they both right away said, no problem. You know, we're giving up our locker. Ray did ask me that the locker next to him be boarded up and so he would have some space, you know, for his stool and everything. No problem. And then there was this thing about the introductions, right? So I'm coming down from Philadelphia, another team. We didn't have anything like that where one guy came out and everything stopped and the song came on, you know, and he eats grass. I'm like, really? You don't eat the grass, do you, Ray? Really? Is that really a team thing? And Ray said right away, look at me, he said, Coach, he goes, if you want us not to do that, I won't do it. I'll wear my helmet. He said, but let me explain to you what I think this is all about. And his explanation was the ability for him to plug into the 53 other players and the 70-some thousand people in the stands and whoever was watching on TV. To take that energy and multiply it by that factor, okay? To plug into everybody else. And to me, that's what a great leader does. So we're not talking about a selfish thing. We're talking about a selfless kind of a thing. You know, he's concentrating on the game. He's got to go play a football game. He's got to go out there and do his thing I'm sure he enjoyed it, but I'm also sure of the effect that it had on, take in case in point, the very last game that we played against the at home, championship season against the Indianapolis Colts. I see you shaking your head. You were probably there, right? It was going to be Ray Lewis's last home game, all right? The last time that he was going to be introduced as a football player. The place is packed. It's packed an hour before the game. I think they're more interested in the introduction than they are in the game. You got it on your iPhone. We're not going to win the game. It doesn't matter. We're going to see the introduction, all right? People are on the edge of their seat to see this thing. Our players normally form a tunnel. No. Now they've closed the tunnel off, and they're like 4 feet right there standing in front of them. They're a part of it. That's one guy who's a superstar translating that to everybody else and making them a part of it. To me, that's what the biggest stars end up doing. That's what the great leaders do. That's what guys who run battle fleet groups in combat do. They bring everybody else into it, and they let them share in that.
I was just going to say, I saw Staubach do the same thing in 1963 at the Naval Academy. Same Heisman Trophy winner, but it was all team, not him, which made us all better.
Let's talk a little bit about adversity. You know, Ed told us about some of his very early challenges when he had a record distribution business before he owned or created the Philadelphia Flyers, and he overexpanded, grew a little too fast, and as a result, the business suffered. Coach Harbaugh, last year the team struggled. Yet I read a really nice story from earlier this year saying that you have done some of your best work under these challenging conditions. What are some of the tools you draw on during times of adversity that allow you to rise to a challenge?
Well, you know, you guys are you're starting out, right? I mean, you're looking forward and you're trying to figure out where you're going to go and what you're going to be and what's going to happen in a year and 5 years and 10 years and 20 years and how this path is going, how this course is going to be plotted. And in the end, whatever you think, whatever you imagine, whatever you kind of dream about, I can just assure you one thing. It won't be that. I mean, we started out the season last year, and we talked about this, you and I, before the season. I really thought we were going to be great. I thought we had a chance to win the whole thing. We lose a close game, we lose another close game, somebody gets hurt, the next thing you know, you're staring at 2-6, and you still think you're going to win the Super Bowl. And now you're 4-10 or whatever it is, and you're just fighting to, you know, try to hold the whole thing together. But the thing that we held on to was our principles, the fact that we were built on one another, that when the smoke clears and it's all said and done, and you get through this adverse situation, you know, like New Day takes, say, an ex-military, a soldier, all right, who's maybe been out for a few years and is struggling and just wants to get their home life and situated for the family and gives them an opportunity, okay? The smoke's going to clear and you're going to come through the whole thing. When you look back on that whole thing, what are people going to see? Are they going to see you cowering in the corner, looking out for yourself? Or are they going to see you standing strong with your chest out, fighting that fight, you know, taking care of one another and having other people's backs? So in the end, that's really the success part of the whole thing. We'll be a better team next year because of what we went through last year. But know this, as you get ready and you get prepared, you get ready to build your businesses, it's not going to be so much about the technology like Rob said or the great new idea. It's going to be about who you are as a person and what you stand on. You know, are you going to be able to walk together forever with the people you come across in your life? You know, you told a story about all the soldiers that call you back and the stories they tell, and you don't even remember them.
Right.
But the difference you made in their life.
Impacted, because we're on TV quite a bit, so I get letters and emails all the time from young men and women who tell me about an instance or something happened where I was interacted with them that affected their lives, and it made all the difference all these many years past. And I would just say for all of you, you're going to have failure. You're going to face adversity. There's going to be challenges. We all have had that, and it's what you do when you face that. A philosophy I have of life is to work as hard as you can, pray as hard as you can, and leave the rest up to God. Then when you're the ripe old age of 74, you look back and say, I've got no regrets. I know I worked as hard as I can. I prayed on it, and it's out of my control. I'm moving forward. And when things do happen, we just had a death at New Day, a young man, 22-year-old, of cardiac arrest, and it affected us all, and it hurts, and it's painful. It brought us together. We faced that as a team at New Day, and you face that, and it bonds us and brings us together. But you've got to learn always to look forward, because you're going to have things that are going to be very painful in your own family, in your work unit. It could be wherever you're associated, the team, whatever it can be. But you as the leader and you as a person, to grow and nurture and go forward, you need to be compartmental things and move forward for all of those around you, whether it's a family or your teammates, whoever it may be.
So I want to move on to the final theme of our talk today, and that is defining principled enterprise in service, sports, and business. At the Ed Snider Center for Enterprise and Markets, we often talk about principled enterprise. The notion, as you've heard already, is that prosperity and the impact in the well-being of individuals in society can be bought in by businesses. Businesses create a lot of value. And in fact, if you think about it, most Americans would say that athletes and men and women who join the service are principled individuals, inasmuch as they build strongly in the vision that they're willing to commit themselves to years of intense training, to years of service, risking personal injury and even death. In contrast, American perceptions of business and business people often are not as positive. Admiral Lynch, what insights would you share from service in the military and experience in the private sector to help our young professionals understand principled enterprise?
Well, thank you, Rajshree. First of all, I would say that we need to change the perception that business is bad or business is immoral. And we have American capitalism is the envy of the world. Businesses provide jobs, provide creativity, provide a sense of prosperity and well-being, and provide a tax revenue that we need to have a democracy. So I think that business in itself, and most would say the purpose of business is to make a profit, but the purpose of business is to provide a service, a world-class service. We're fortunate at New Day because we have this principled idea and feeling that we know that we are helping somebody, we're providing that world-class service, we're providing that financial solution, and by the way, it's profitable business as well. And we take that money, we take 5% of our operating income, we put that into our foundation. That foundation goes back to veterans charities. Our team members, as Rob Posner mentioned, I mean, we work at the Baltimore station, the homeless shelter in Baltimore. We clean the monuments, wash the monuments down on the mall. We take young people, scholarships for young men and women whose fathers were either, our mothers were either killed or wounded on active duty. So we do a lot of things to give back. And I think in all all the business gives to this country. I mean, it's probably the best thing, one of the most important aspects of our society is the business, because it creates that growth and makes those opportunities, allows an entrepreneurship, and allows us to grow as a nation.
Coach Harbaugh, football, besides being a great American pastime, also is big business. What insights can you help with young professionals in understanding principled enterprise?
Well, I don't think business needs to be defended. I mean, if somebody's attacking business out there, it's just foolishness. You know, I go back to my political science classes way back in college one time. Adam Smith, the hand of God. I've never forgotten that for whatever reason, that principle. And some of you guys might know what I'm talking about, but it just stuck with me. And I couldn't recite one book or anything else. I just remember the idea. To me, that's how we're created. If you run a football team, it's a reward system. We want to be recognized. We want to accomplish. We want to make a difference. We want to do something. That's how human beings are created. That's what we're made for. We're not made to go, be stuck in a corner and nobody notice us and everybody be the same and everybody be equal. We want to stand out on our own merits, and everybody's uniquely created to accomplish something on their own for themselves, but for everybody else too. We're all tied together. No man is an island, and that's to me what that's what America is. That's what America was built on. That's what makes it great. That's what makes, like Dr. Lowe said, that's why everybody wants to come here. That's why everybody wants to emulate what we're doing, because we're built on the idea that you work hard, you think, you make a difference, you fill a void, you fill a need, you help people, you make a difference in their lives, and you're rewarded for it, and you're recognized for it. And part of that is financial. We all want to make money. I tell our players all the time, there's not a guy in this room, our players, coach or player or anybody, a scout, that thinks they're paid enough. We all think we should be making more, Well, go earn more. Go do more. Go help somebody. Make us better. And to me, that's what the whole American system is about, and that's what business is for, and that's what really makes us great as a country.
Okay, so I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit of tension between Admiral Lynch's answer and Coach Harbaugh's answer. So I'm going to push a little bit more out here, right?
I didn't notice that.
I didn't.
So let me elaborate on what I heard, right? And this is something that I hear quite a bit. Businesses' purpose is to serve and to help others. And if there is profit, then that profit is justifiable only to the extent that it can be put back into the service of society. Now, I'm overplaying a little bit, okay?
Yes.
But I'm trying to make a point out here. On the other hand, what I heard you, Coach Harbaugh, say is, I earn it, I should get to keep it. Do you see the tension?
Well, let me say.
Okay.
Well, to me, it's a great point. Okay, I would just say in my own limited intellectual academic mind, take the next step, A fact of our creation is free will. We all decide, we all make a choice. We make decisions every single day. So it's up to me to decide how to spend it. We tell our players, be yourself, but it's probably a good idea to be your best self. The world is an open mic, okay? Everybody's watching everything that we do. You want to be well thought of, do something to help somebody else. You make a bunch of money, okay, you can hoard it. You can be, Howard Hughes, whatever, grow your fingernails out to here, your hair down to there. Whatever you really accomplish in life. But you know what? If that's what you want to do, that's your choice. You could also make a choice to make a difference in people's lives. You could help somebody start up a company, or you get down knee and tell a kid, you know what? I think you could be something special someday. You got what it takes. Something they'll remember for the rest of their life. Okay? It's going to be that way one way or the other. But who has a right to tell somebody else how to live their life or how to spend their money or anything else? I mean, I just believe in people. I think once you say, once you give everybody the opportunity to make those choices for themselves, I think we'll all be surprised. They'll make pretty great choices. I know they will.
But I think there might be a little disparity there between individuals and the business entity itself. The business entity is there to provide that service, that world-class service, provide something that for society, and in return, they're going to get a financial reward for that. That reward then is going to be distributed to the employees of the company, one of whom is going to be the head coach or the CEO, and how he spends his money, that's his business. But the entity itself, what it does then with those resources, and they give back to the community when they can, if they so choose to do so, which we do at New Day. So it's kind of, not that much of a disparity.
Fair enough.
Nice try.
Well, I'm trying to create a little bit
I
of
see that.
tension out here. Okay, but I want to come back to this point actually, which is a very important one. How much is enough? You know, so everybody, so coming to it, if we think about great individuals working in great teams, doing great things, everything is good, life is perfect. But then the individuals have to think about all of the value that's being created, and then how are we going to share it? So I like what you said. Who is to decide what you're going to do with your money? But how do we decide how much is paid to whom?
You mean in the business or just in society?
Yes, both.
Well, who's to say? I mean, that would be my next question is, okay, whose decision is that to make? We're kind of talking politics now, I think, or whatever. But to me, that's what the market is built for. The market determines that. I mean, you know, yes, I think there's got to be some controls and everything else, but it's up to the person. It's up to the people. We got to believe in one another and trust one another. You know, that we're all going to make the right choices, whether you're part of a team, you know, in combat, or whether you're part of a team on a football field. You know, if we're going to be successful, we got to work together. And if we start making bad choices, selfish choices, choices that serve only ourselves, then you know what? The person that's going to be affected the most, who? That person. Right. Okay? So you make good, smart choices. You help other people out. To me, it takes care of itself. But is some other person supposed to come in there and say, "Oh, this is how much you're allowed to make," or "This is where we draw the line. That's the right number." I don't see who has the right to do that.
And you could be an Ed Snider and make a ton of money and give a ton of money back to so many wonderful causes and so many wonderful things. Or you could be another individual that hoards that money. But in our society and the free markets that we have, and you can't stifle that initiative and whatever it is that drives that person for that creativity and the entrepreneurial spirit, you never want to try to dictate that in any way. We're back to a social society, and we've seen around the world, that has not worked.
You know, one thing I think is really cool, so you drive on campus here, and you see what Dr. Lowe is doing, okay? I mean, the sports facilities, DJ, right, what you guys are building, it's just unbelievable. It's phenomenal. And Maryland athletics are going to take off. No question about it. I know how DJ recruits. He's a pit bull. I know what kind of a coach he is. It's blitz, blitz, blitz all the time, man. We're bringing it, you know? And that's in the spirit that Dr. Lowe's talking about. That's in the Terp spirit. But there's cranes everywhere here. You know, I don't know, $1 billion worth of, you know, but what drives that, you know? What drives that is people that are excited to be involved in College Park. The people that say, I want to make this a great place, and I want to make a difference, and I want to make money, and I want to make my mark, okay? And the vision that you've created here in terms of young 20 and 30-year-old professionals living right here and having the opportunity to move all through the greater Washington and Baltimore area, I'll throw that in there too, you know, and be part of that, make this kind of the intellectual economic center of the whole region. I mean, to me, that's the kind of spirit that we're talking about here. Entrepreneur, how do you say it?
Entrepreneurship.
There you go.
Entrepreneurial, but everything starts at the top.
Right.
In the Navy, as the CEO goes, so goes the ship. In business, as the CEO goes, so goes the business. As the University of Maryland goes, so goes Dr. Lowe, so goes the University of Maryland, because he has the vision, he puts the resources behind that, he brings in quality, you know, renowned professors and instructors. That attracts quality students like we have here today. Everything feeds on itself, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. All of you will go out there, and some of you will be another Ed Snider and bring that money back here someday. So it all feeds on itself, so we can have more students here. So it's all, same with the coaching, same with any aspect of our lives.
So what I've really enjoyed in the last 35, 40 minutes is listening to, if you've heard, a very benevolent, a very upbeat view and sense of life. It is not about the negativity. And I don't think that either of you are, you know, just looking at the positives and not at all focusing on some of the very realities that we have out here. But notice that we frame our minds and our sense of life based on how we view the world. Two things. One to you, Admiral Lynch, and then I also have a question for you, Coach Harbaugh. Admiral Lynch, you talked about the fact that when you give feedback, to the young individuals that work at New Day USA. You are very careful about the ratio.
Well, it's a sort of a feeling, philosophy, doctrine I developed early on, because in the military, you're always, in command, you've always got to know everything that's, all the negatives. You got to know how many knots are in that boiler. What's the quality of the feed pump? What's the training on everybody? Because you have, at any moment in time, as we say, the balloon goes up and you can be in live combat. So you need to know the capabilities and limitations of every sailor and every system you have aboard the ship. Many, whether they're a commanding officer aboard ship or they are a leader in our society, they feel my job is to correct everything. I've got to know every problem, and my job is to go in there and solve that problem and make a correction. And so, coach, he's looking, he's up that block, he didn't do it this way, the stance, this, that, missed a call, and boom, boom, boom. I sort of have a little different take on it. Those things you're going to see and you're going to know about. When that guy misses the block, he's going to feel that he misses the block. When that sailor lets me down for something, he knows what he's done. So look for the positives. And so any interaction, we're all human beings here on this planet Earth. We're here for a short period of time. So that interpersonal relationships you have, whether it's up, down, sideways, however it may be, always try to think and try to make yourself positive 4 to 1. There's always that time when you need to kick in a fanny for whatever it may be, or you need that instruction or admonishment, which you do in private with the individual. But any time you're in public or any time you're with the person, always try to do 4 to 1, positive to negative. And I thought I was a great enlightened leader until I started counting. I sit back at the end of the day and said, what did I say and what did I do? And I was a total failure. So it's hard to do. It's not easy. Like any of these things that's worthwhile. It's tough to do, but always try to be that positive. Always look forward.
Coach Harbaugh, would you like to add to that? And then I have another question too.
Well, that's a great point. I think another thing, you want to be successful, and you guys are going to be heading out into the work world, and you say, I want to do something and make a difference. But, I think one of the things DJ would agree with as a coach is the ability to inspire, and to help people believe in themselves. And to me, the incredible power that is for the person that does the inspiring. But if you think back all your life, we can all do it. You may not remember whoever won the Grammy last year. You probably don't remember who won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm sure you remember who won it 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
But you do remember the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in your life that made a difference. A lot of times it's your parents, I hope it is, teacher, coach, uncle, whoever it might be, aunt, someone that, and what did that person do? They believed in you. They liked you. They told you could do something, right? Well, here you are. You want to be a leader, right? Well, every single day you have a chance to do that. You have peers. You have people in your fraternity house. You have people on a team, people in a class. Maybe you're a great math student and you got someone who's struggling a little bit. Tell them that you see something in them and they can do it and you want to help them out a little bit. Some child, man, get down on their level and tell them that they're special. That's probably something they'll remember for the rest of their life, and you'll be that person. And if you do that, you'll be considered a leader.
Great. So one question for you, Coach Harbaugh. You talked a little bit earlier when we were in the green room about creating 5-year plans or success factors. And you don't believe in that.
No, like people get mad at me because I say, well, you don't believe in goals? It's like, yeah, we believe in goals, But I don't know if you have to have a plan, and you have to have a vision, and you have to have an operating and a method. But, principles are written in stone, methods are not. There are things that you have to believe in and you have to stand on and you have to stand for. That's what's going to take you somewhere in life. But what turn in the road, what bend, what opportunity is going to come along, you're foolish to try to predict it. I was coaching at Cincinnati. It's a tough job. Way back, DJ, I was there for 8 years, right? And my wife and I would complain to my wife, I'm a good coach. Why can't I get a job at a big school? Why isn't Ohio State calling? Something like that. And finally, we just, you grow up, and we worked it out, and we decided, this is really a great job that we have right here where we're at. These are good people, and if we could be here for the rest of our lives and coach here as an assistant coach at the University of Cincinnati, that would be a great accomplishment. So we bought a house, Rob. We got a mortgage, and we bought a house. 8 months later, we tried to sell the house. We couldn't sell the house because a Big Ten school called. And then 10 months after that, the Philadelphia Eagles called. So to me, it wasn't about any kind of a plan. It's just about sometimes you stop, trying too hard at getting the next job and focus on doing the job that you have and being happy where you're at and treating people the right way, and good things happen.
Right. And I think you also talked about 3 lessons.
3 lessons? Okay.
Yes.
My dad, yeah.
Yes.
So decided to coach. My dad, Jack Harbaugh, who's got it better than us? Nobody. It's a good way to look at life. Have you done that with your guys yet? It's coming, though. So I said, I decided to coach. He gave me an opportunity. I said, Dad, what, we're talking. What's it going to take to be a good coach? He said, 3 things. It's going to take 3 things. So my coach told me, Doak Perry, back in 1961 at Bowling Green. He said, number 1, you got to be passionate. But he's going to go in reverse order. He said, number 3, you got to be passionate. You got to love what you do. If your job is not work, then you're going to be great at your job. You're going to want to go every day, and you're going to want to stay late, and you're going to want to do a great job. Number 2, you got to work hard. He said, I promise you, there'll be a lot of people out there smarter than you. That's just a fact. But you can control how hard you work. You can outwork any of them. So work really hard. He said, but first, by far, most important thing that you need to do is marry wisely. Is that not true? Right? Make a good choice. And that turned out to be the best thing. But and it's all about relationships, like you said, Admiral Lynch, whether it's your family, people you work with.
Yes. Thank you so much. This was phenomenal. We really appreciate it at the University of Maryland that the 2 of you joined us, shared your insights and your stories. I know that I got a lot from these conversations.
Well, I want to thank you for setting it up, and Dr. Lowe and the entire Snider Center here, and to all of you students. We're here for one reason, and that's because, and we talk so much about leadership, our country needs your leadership. We're talking about all the cybersecurity, the war on terror, the environment, all these things are not going away, along with the $20 trillion debt in this country. Those are problems that need to be solved, and you're the ones going to have to solve them. So it's an honor for me to be here to share that with you.
And I could just say one thing. It's an honor to be here too. And these are time is very valuable. It's not something you choose your places that you want to spend your time really wisely. And first of all, to be associated with University of Maryland and to be here with you guys is really big, because this is a great university. I mean, I know how hard it is to get into this school because I got a daughter that's looking at Maryland, down the road. It's a great accomplishment to be here. It's one of the very finest educations in the world, okay? And you have a great leader that stands for the right things. It's a great place. Go Terps. And then to be associated with New Day USA. I've gotten to know Admiral Lynch. I've gotten to know Rob Posner, and I know what they're about. And you don't put your name, you don't align yourself with people unless you believe in who they are and what they stand for, okay? And this is a company that is honorable, that believes in the right things, that cares about people, and wants to make a difference, wants to make a difference in military lives. And to me, the fact that Maryland and New Day is associated, is aligned, is partnered, is just a perfect fit, and it's just an honor to be a part of it.
Great. You are defined by the company you keep, and you're in pretty good company. Thank you.